Shalom. Call Allah Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Kakadash Bakatam. Double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops of Great Millstone. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives to do so. To the scattered elect across the four corners of the earth, and those among the heathen nations that look like the heathen nations, pursuant to Jeremiah 12 and 9, known as the speckled birds. I am the disciple of Pariam. I follow a great millstone, coming to you with a lesson in truth and sincerity. So this lesson is going to be titled The Way-Heresy-Cult. All right, so this is to be based off of Acts 24 and 14. And I'll go ahead and read off the precept. It says, "But I confess unto thee that after the way which they call heresy, so worship I the power of my fathers, believing all things which are written in the law and in the prophets." Okay, this is Paul speaking right here. Okay, so I want to grab that word heresies and just do a comparison between the blue letter, the Septuagint of the Greek, also in the etymology of the study of the words below. So it's Strong's G 139, and it's adasis. It's a act of taking capture, choosing storming. So here it says storming a city, but it says choosing choice, that which is chosen, a body of men following their own tenets, sect or party. Okay, and you see it says here, it says Sadducees, Pharisees, Christians, just giving some examples right there. All right. All right, so let's go to the word heresy down here below. It says a doctrine or opinion at variance with the established standards. Opinion of private men, different from that of the Catholic and Orthodox Church. School of thought. You see that? It says, and back in ancient days, they also had a school of the prophets. And I believe that was spoken of in the Book of Kings. It says taking or choosing for oneself, a choice meaning to means of taking a deliberate plan. But that word heresy, I'm going to read the NLT next to it. It says is going to go into the word cult. And this is something that people just kind of throw around there, and just to kind of make you feel a certain way. At the end of the day, you gotta follow something, okay? Because if you don't, you're gonna be susceptible to what they want you to follow, okay? And we put our faith and trust in this, all right, in this way, in this heresy, in this so-called cult, all right. But right here it says, "But I admit that I follow the way which they call a cult. I worship the power of our ancestors, and I firmly believe that," here it says Jewish, but it's really Israelite law, because there was no such thing as Jewish back then. That ish means likened unto. It says the Israelite law and everything written in the prophets. Now, I'm going to look up that word cult here in the etymology. It says worship, homage. Here it says since now obsolete, but it says in Latin cultures, care, labor, cultivate, culture, worship, reverence. If cult is so bad, it's still in all these other words, right? So it's being very hypocritical, if you ask me. Now I want to go back up here. In verse 14 in the Acts 24:14, where it says the way, because also so-called Christianity, which is really Hamashiachium, which are those who follow the Anointed One or the Messiah, the yum being plural, all right. Those who follow in the way of the Anointed is what it really means. But this is just a Greek sense right here. But we're going to get the word way. It's the way. and is Hadas.
Strong's G 3598. Hadas.
And it's
Hadas.
it says properly a way, a traveled way, journey, right? And when you actually get that, they have in the Hebrew, it'd be darak, and it's basically going to the same terms. But I wanted to get a precept into what I was thinking when I heard this term, the way, is Matthew's 7 and verse 13. It says the narrow and wide gates. It says, enter ye in the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. It says, because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth into life, and few there be that find it. Yeah, because there's a lot of this place is confusion. This is Babylon. Is a quote that I'm trying to get. Wake up my computer. It decides to do something. Okay. So this is, we just finished MLK this past, I believe it was this past week. And, funny quote, one of the last things that he said, because, he was being tapped by, the FBI and whatnot. He was having affairs with, YT women. And they were trying to expose him. And he was basically an agent working with the government, right? He was no better than these pastor pork chops you see running around there. But he did say, I fear that I may have integrated my people into a burning house, And he made these statements to express his concerns that despite the fight for integration, right? So, again, he knew that this place was wicked, and it was not following in the way of the Lord, and knew that they weren't going to follow in the way of the Lord, because basically it's not upright in them. Okay, and let's go ahead and get that real quick. This is Habakkuk 2 and 4. And, I'm just kind of going off the rip right here, actually, to be honest. So, say, call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahushai for that. It says, behold, his soul, which is lifted up in him, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Okay? So, get John 14 verse 6. It says, Yahushua said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father, but by me. So, this is showing delineation that there's separate people, right? They're separate, in that they're in agreement in one, but they're not the same. Okay. And so this is just, one who seeks to approach, to be in closest fellowship with Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. Okay. And we know that going back to Acts 24 and 14, that Paul followed in the way of his ancestors, his forefathers. Okay, and that's spoken of in Romans chapter 9, that he himself is from the tribe of Benjamin. Okay, so but we know that this salvation is only unto Israel. And I want to get to Revelations 2, verse 26. It says, "And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations." All right, and he shall rule them with the rod of iron, as the vessels of the potters. Shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. Okay, so this is going into that Israel is going to be given salvation. So let's get Psalms. Psalms 2, we'll go from verse 7 through 9. It says, "I will declare the decree, the Lord Yahweh Shai have said unto me, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost part of the earth for thy possession. So thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel." Let's go to Luke 1. Verses 67, I believe it starts at. It says, "And his father Zacharias was filled with the Holy Spirit." Here it says ghost. That's what Christians deal with, but we see the Spirit. "And prophesied, saying, Blessed be the Lord power of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people." Okay, "and hath raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David." Okay, that's speaking of Yahweh Shai. Verse 70, "And he spake by the mouth of the holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we shall be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us." Okay, you see how this is lining up with Acts 24 and 14, what Paul was speaking. And lastly, I'm going to get 2 Ezra 6. It pulls up. 57 to 59, it says, "And now, O Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, behold, these heathen which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us." Why? Because we're in these curses, pursuant to Deuteronomy 28. "But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. And if the world be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure?" And these curses are starting to befall upon the heathen, onto the Edomites. You look at Deuteronomy 30, and kind of discusses that. So, anyways, I pray that this lesson was edifying, and this is again the Way-Heresy-Cult, and I say you got to follow something, or you're gonna fall for everything. And so I pray this lesson was edifying to Akim Akwath in this truth, and shalom, and on to the next.